Hey, what up, guys? Coming to you this morning with the What's Next on Undefeated, rising contender and prospect, Ryan Garcia. Garcia main evented a Golden Boy DAZN card on Valentine's night, Friday, February 14th, when he took on former world title challenger Francisco Fonseca. He dominated Fonseca, first round knockout victory on a left hook, beautiful punch, and now he is continues to move himself up the ladder. Now, the point of that fight, now the big question is, what's next for Jorge Linares? For Ryan Garcia, sorry. Jumping the gun. What's next for Ryan Garcia? Well, Jorge Linares, the former 3-division world champion, seems to be what's next for Ryan. Seems to be. That's not 100%. We don't know. But Linares fought in the co-feature and scored a knockout win over, I forget the guy's name. He was a veteran. He scored a 4th-round knockout win, and he looked pretty damn good also. And the projection is that these two guys are going to meet later on in the year, towards the middle of the year, in a Contenders bout. But that's not 100% guaranteed. That's just a projection, but that's why they had, that's why they had both of them fight on the same card, was because of that. So that's the likely possibility right now. I'm going to tell you if I think that's absolutely going to happen after we run through the top 10. So let's start with number 1 in the lightweight division, 135 pounds. Ryan Garcia is not ranked there. He hasn't beaten anybody credible, in my opinion, to earn himself a top 10 spot yet. So we're going to run through the top 10, and we start with unified champion Vasily Lomachenko. No chance of this happening. Lomachenko is on a collision course with Teofimo Lopez next. And, Ryan Garcia is just way too green for Lomachenko. Number 2 is undefeated IBF champion Teofimo Lopez. Not going to happen. Teofimo Lopez, as I just said, on a collision course with Lomachenko for a unification bout in May. And, Ryan Garcia this is not on the radar for him right now. Number 3, Jorge Linares, the former 3-division world champ. This is the likely fight next for Ryan Garcia. Not guaranteed, but it's likely going to be next for him, is what it looks like. Number 4 is former 2-time world title challenger Luke Campbell. Luke Campbell is on a collision course with Javier Fortuna for the vacant WBC title. So this fight is not happening next, but it could happen later in the year, possibly, or early next year, but it's definitely not happening next for either guy. Number 5 is undefeated Gervonta Davis. Davis is a PBC guy. Garcia is a Golden Boy guy. This fight would have to really be wanted by the public, and right now they're just both too green. This fight's not happening next. Number 6 is former lightweight champ Richard Comey. Not happening next. Comey's coming off of a big loss. He also fights for top rank. Garcia's with Golden Boy. If they could work out a deal, maybe, but I think it's a high-risk fight for a guy like Garcia, and he would have to equal or top what Teofimo Lopez did against Richard Comey, and Lopez destroyed Comey in only 2 rounds. So I really don't see this fight being next for either guy, and I don't think Comey would want to take the fight either, so it's not just on Garcia. Number 7 is former junior lightweight champion Javier Fortuna. Not going to happen. Fortuna is on a collision course with Luke Campbell for the vacant WBC title. Possibly could happen later in the year if Fortuna wins, or could happen early next year if Fortuna is still the world champion, but not happening next. Number 8 is Ivan Mendy, French contender. I wouldn't completely rule it out if the Linares fight fell through, because Mendy is on the rise. He's kind of highly ranked by the WBC. So I wouldn't be surprised if Ryan Garcia stepped in there with him if the Jorge Linares fight didn't happen. So this is a possibility next. I do believe it is. Number 9 is former featherweight champ Lee Selby. Not going to happen. Selby's on a collision course in an IBF eliminator against an undefeated contender to try to move himself in line for another world title shot. Number 10 is former 3-division world champion Ricky Burns. Here's a fight I wouldn't completely rule out, because Burns is a contender that's been there. So I don't think he would completely be against stepping in there against a guy like Ryan Garcia. But I think Ryan Garcia wants bigger things, and he's looking at like a Linares fight, so I don't see it. And that's it. That's the top 10 right there. So My opinion is I believe it's going to be Jorge Linares. I think they both look good. That's going to hype the fight really well. And I think these guys are going to collide next. I do believe that's going to happen. If for some reason that fight falls through, I think an Ivan Mendy fight is very possible as another top 10 guy. But outside of that, if those two fights don't happen, Garcia is going to keep plucking away against some of these kind of low-level guys. And, and that's sad because he's better than that. And we want to see how good he really is. So very likely going to be Jorge Linares, but we'll just have to wait and see. So I hope you enjoyed it. That's the What's Next on Undefeated, Rising Contender, and Prospect, Ryan Garcia. All right, guys, True Boxing. Been hit with the truth.